Today in Lesson 1-4, we will continue to work with place value. You will need your whiteboard marker, and eraser, along with your math journal. So today, I always start with a math warm-up. So what you're going to do is just to make sure that you write answers only. So on your whiteboard, would you please number 1, 2, and 3. Please tell me on your whiteboard next to number 1, what is the value of the 3? Number 2, what is the value of the 8? And number 3, what is the value of the 6? Go ahead and pause the video and write down your answers. The value of the 3 in number 1 is 30. Number 2, the value of the 8 is 8. And number 3, the value of the 6 is 600. Go ahead and erase your whiteboard. Again, number 1 to 3, you're going to put answers only. What is the value of the 7 in number 1? What is the value of the 2 in number 2? And what is the value of the 5 in number 3? Pause your video and write down answers only. Number 1, the value of the 7 is 700. The value of the 2 is 2,000. And the value of the 1 is 10. Make sure you're doing this with me on your whiteboard, not just watching. And last warm-up. Number 1 to 3 again. Tell me the value of the 3 in number 1, the value of the 2 in number 2, and the value of a 1 in number 3. Pause the video and write down your answers. Number 1, the value of the 3 is 3,000. The value of the 2 in number 2 is 200. And the value of the 1 in number 3 is 100,000. Today we're going to work together on journal page 9. So go ahead and open up your math journal. At the top it says working with populations. Use the information in the table to solve the problems. So before I start even asking myself what do, I want to look at this table. I notice that some cities are located in the first column. In the second column, the 2000 census. The census is when they count the number of people, and that's done every 10 years. And 2010. So now let's go ahead and let's look at number 1. The direction reads, name 2 cities that have a 2010 population in the 100,000s. So again, it says 2 cities. So pay attention to what they're asking. So I'm looking for numbers in the 100,000s. So if you remember, it's ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So let's take a look. Some of these first cities that are listed, New York City is in the millions, Los Angeles in the millions, Houston in the millions, Philadelphia in the millions, as is San Diego. It's not until we get to these bottom 3 cities, and we're just going to write down 2 names. So these are all in the 100,000s. So I'm going to choose St. Paul, which is our state's capital, and Norman. You can put down Boston or Milwaukee or Albuquerque or St. Paul or Norman. If you need an extra moment, go ahead and pause the video. Number 2, name 2 cities that have a 2010 population in the millions. So again, we're looking at 2010. And we said all those ones that I had a yellow dot by were all in the millions. 8 million, 3 million, 2 million, 1 million, and 1 million. I'm going to list 2 of them. New York City and Los Angeles. But you can also write down Houston, Philadelphia, and San Diego. Make sure you're filling out your math journal with me. Number 3, talking specifically about Boston. Boston's population in 2010 was 617,594. It's asking us for the value of the digit, and we just did this in the math warm-up. So the value of the 1 is in the 10,000. So the value of the 1 is 10,000. The value of the 7 is 7,000. And the value of the 6, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. It's the 100,000s place, but the value is a 6 there. So we say the value is 600,000. Next, they're talking about Philadelphia. And its population in 2010 was 1,547,607. What is the value of the 4? Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. But the value is, because there's 4 there, the value is 40,000. The value of the 1 is in the millions place. The value is 1 million. And lastly, the value of the 5. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. There's a 5 in the hundreds, thousands, so the value of the 5 is 500,000. Next, we're going to take a look at Houston's Houston's population to the nearest million. So we're looking at Houston, and we're looking at the number for 2010. So just as a little bit of a help, I'm going to write the population of Houston in 2010 here. It asked me to round it to the nearest million. So I'm going to circle the number in the millions place. You do the same. Go ahead and write 2,160,821. Draw an arrow to the right. Remember, you ask that neighbor just to the place value to the right. 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. It is 4 or less, so I'm going to let the 2 rest. Everything then after the millions place turns to a 0. Number 6. Did Boston's population increase or decrease from 2000 to 2010? Increase means to go up, decrease means to go down. So I'm going to look at Boston. It went from 589,141 to 617,594. If I just look at the number in the 100,000s, it went from 5 to 6, which is an increase. Make sure you're filling out journal page 9. Number 7, record the population for Norman in 2000 and 2010. Use a less than, greater than, or equal to compare. So I'm going to look at Norman, put down the population in 2000, which is 95,694, and then I'm going to put in 110,925. Now I'm going to look at those two numbers, 95,000 versus 110. It is less than 110,000. And my elementary teacher taught me to think about this like an alligator. Its teeth want to eat the larger number. So the opening of its mouth where the teeth are faces the larger number. And lastly, which cities, notice it has an S on it, has populations that decreased from 2000 to 2010? So let's quickly go through each one of these. New York City Look at the 8 and the 8 in the millions. Then a 0 and a 1. It went up, it increased. I want you to look through the next cities. Los Angeles, 3 million, 3 million. So go to the next place value. 6 in the 100,000s, 8. It increased. I want you to pause for a moment and look through the remainder of the cities and see if you can find there are 2 that decreased. If I look at St. Paul, it went from 287 to 285,000. That was a decrease. So I can go ahead and write St. Paul. And the one other one that went down or decreased was Milwaukee. Milwaukee went from 596 to 594,000. So Milwaukee was the other city that decreased in population. Now, go ahead and go back to your Schoology math folder for today and see what else you need to complete.